This next couple of exercises is focused on k-means clustering. If you are familiar with machine learning or data science, you've probably already heard of k-means clustering. Maybe you have used k-means clustering. There's many different k-means clustering variants. Some are relatively simple. Some of them are pretty complicated and sophisticated. The k-means variant that I explained in theory and also showed you the code for earlier in this chapter is highly effective. So it's a really effective use of k-means clustering when the data are already fairly well clustered. So for complicated data or really intricate data, this method is not super effective, but otherwise it's pretty industry standard. And of course, it's all based on vector operations, in particular computing distances as the norm of a difference vector. So we take one vector, subtract another vector, and that gives us a difference vector, and we compute the norm of that vector or the dot product of that vector with itself. And the idea is that what we want to optimize is for minimizing that norm of that vector. So we want the norm of that vector to be as small as it possibly can be. In the context of k-means, the way we get that the norm of that vector, that distance vector, to be small is by moving the the centroids around. Okay, so earlier in this chapter, I already explained how to implement k-means clustering. The purpose of this exercise, exercise 8, is to just give you a little bit more experience working with k-means clustering and qualitatively evaluating the performance of k-means clustering. So in this case, what we want to do is generate some data, and without repeating the data, so we work on the same data set, we're going to rerun the k-means clustering algorithm multiple times, each time using k equals 3. But the idea is that each time we rerun the code, each time we rerun the algorithm, we are going to start with a different randomly initialized set of cluster centroids. So here is where I create the data, and yeah, I explain this in the chapter in the text, but basically I'm just defining the true centroids here, and then I create some cloud of dust. It's just some random points that are randomly distributed, so normally distributed around this center point. This is for y, this is for x. The scalar of this blur, here it's set to 1, so it's implicitly not doing anything. But the idea is that this allows you to define how much the data are clustered around their centroids. For example, if we would set this to 0.1, make a very small blur, then you can see this is really easy. K-means clustering is going to be super ludicrously, ridiculously accurate with something like this. If we would set this up to like 2, then, there's no clusters here. The clusters all overlap so much here because the variance, the amount of blur, is so high relative to the distance between the different centroids. Okay, so I kind of played around with these numbers a little bit just to find values where k-means clustering should work pretty well, but not perfectly. Okay, so here we see what it looks like for one run. And now, we know the ground truth because we generated these data. But if you didn't know the ground truth and you looked at this, you might think that it's all just one cluster, or maybe I think I would guess 2 clusters. It looks like there's one cluster here, the bit of an outlier. Looks like one cluster here and one other cluster here. And I think what's actually going on is that this is cluster 2 and this is cluster 3. Anyway, let's see if k-means clustering can highlight these or isolate these 3 clusters in the data. Okay, so I've gone through this earlier in the chapter, but basically just to reiterate, this is the main line of k-means clustering, and here we are computing the difference vector between the data points and the centroids for each centroid, and there's 3 of them, and then we sum those and square it. So that is just giving us, square and then sum. So that is giving us the norm of the distance vector. Okay, and that's the thing that we want to minimize by moving around these centroids. Okay, so let's see. I'll run this, and I think I'll have to decrease the zoom a bit. Okay, so indeed, the third iteration does look like what I initially suggested, that this is one cluster, and this is a second cluster, and this is a third cluster. So now what we want to do, the point of this exercise, is to repeat this code multiple times. So I'm going to run this code cell again with exactly the same data, right? Because the data were generated in a previous code cell. Now what I want you to do is keep your eyes focused over here on iteration 3. And what we want to see is whether when I run this code again, these clusters stay the same or whether they change qualitatively. Okay, so that looks basically the same. A few of these points look different. I think this data point here belonged to this cluster. So it is a iterative randomization based algorithm. So of course it's going to look slightly different from run to run. This was also different, but I think you can see that each time I run this code, the centroids are all in the same place, roughly, more or less. Okay, and so this is a quality. Okay, this one actually looked different, right? This is an exception. Most of the times when I reran this code, the centroids were basically in the same place. Here, it looks like there's this one really big cluster that's spanning these two clusters, and this cluster got broken up into two. I think this is wrong. I don't think this is how it should be. This sort of thing can happen with k-means clustering. If you are taking a dedicated machine learning course that has a module focused on k-means clustering, you would learn about quantitative methods to assess whether these clustering results are good, whether these solutions are really the best solutions. But I just want to highlight to you this qualitative method of rerunning the k-means algorithm over and over again, each time with different random starting locations. And you want to see qualitatively, do you get basically the same results or wildly different results? And most of the time, it was the same, and then this time was wildly different.